Okay, sounds good. So welcome, everyone. As Nathan pointed out, I'm the Chief Data Scientist at Data Science Dojo, and I am also involved in a lot of learning, and I'm one of the lead instructors at Data Science Dojo. And then I'm also involved in on the services side of things that we do. So what we are going to do is I will give I see some of you, I recognize some of the names. So some of you are from our Bootcamp alumni and in general, other offerings that we have had. But really, they've been around, one of the oldest companies in this space, lots of graduates by now. And pretty much, any country on the planet, someone from that company, a country or many companies, they have attended our training. So we are fairly well known in that space. But so far, what we have done is our flagship product was our Data Science Bootcamp. And the way the Data Science Bootcamp format was that people would come in, not necessarily having any data science background. They would come in and within 1 week of training, and it was a 5-day, 40-hour training, and they would leave and they would go back and start having impact at work, right? So, and so we recently decided to launch a large language models bootcamp. And before I actually go and talk about the curriculum and other details, why did we decide to launch this bootcamp? So that is a natural question. And what happened is over the last 6 to 8 months, suddenly, as there was interest in large language model applications, most of us, unless someone is hiding under a rock somewhere, right? So all of us know ChatGPT or Bard, and maybe a lesser known Anthropic's large language model. And there are so many applications that we can build. We started getting involved in some of the services and consulting work. And then very soon we realized that, well, ChatGPT and Bard, they work really well, but that's not what all the enterprises would need. Let's actually ask these questions now, right? So what if you're working on enterprise data and there are some regulatory challenges, or your data is proprietary? What do you do? Are you going to send your data back to, or upload your data on ChatGPT? And there is so many other issues that probably anyone who has not worked as a practitioner, we very soon found out, while ChatGPT looks amazing and Bard look amazing, but those off-the-shelf solutions, they have their own limitations. And how do you evaluate? How do you actually prevent your model from or your LLM from hallucinating? What if your data is constantly changing? You have disparate data sources. You want to get that inference on your CRM data, or maybe your SQL database, or SQL data. Maybe you have some data that you cannot upload anywhere. What if you want to use open source models? What about reproducibility? You have some concerns around token usage and all of that. So as we started building these solutions, we realized that, well, it all looks wonderful in theory, but when you start building real world applications, it takes a lot of context, let's put it this way, right? So it takes a lot of practical experience to be able to actually build a finished application. And based on that, we have been building many solutions. We have built many solutions. We are actually also working on a SaaS product that is in the same space. And then we said, yeah, I mean, why not, right? So if while, I mean, as they say, I mean, in a gold rush, be in the business of shovels, right? So we decided, yeah, I mean, we are going to teach people, there is a gold rush, right? So we are actually building solutions for people. How about we also teach people, how do you go and start building something on your own? Let's keep going here. So what this bootcamp is about is like our, so some of you are returning students, so you know how it works. So you start on a Monday at 8 a.m., in this case, 9 a.m. So you start on a Monday morning and go all the way to a Friday, 5 p.m. And the way this works is we cover all the theoretical topics, then common tools, libraries, and packages that are needed to cover, to give an extensive coverage. Every time we discuss some topic, there's going to be hands-on exercises. Then there is, in this case, the last day is dedicated, like you will learn the theory and the tools, etc., for 4 days. And the last day, the entire day is dedicated for building a project. So you will start with a data set, a non-trivial data set, of course, right? And you will build certain LLM applications that I have a slide about that towards the end. And also, building large language model applications can actually be, I think, from a cost perspective, sometimes if not used efficiently, there's a lot of cost associated with it. So when you sign up, all the tools, all the subscriptions, everything is included in that, right? So, and hence the price on the higher side, right? So, so what will I do now? I'm going to go over the curriculum very quickly. I will also show you the learning infrastructure that we have set up. So I'll talk about that. Then we have some partnerships going on. I will talk about that, and any discounts, etc., and the logistics, right? So that's a very high level. This is what we are going to be talking about. So if you look at this, this is a typical architecture, right? So when you're talking about building a large language model application, so typically the way most people are, hundreds of millions of users for ChatGPT, for instance, right? So the way they interact with the large language model is they only are directly interacting with the large language model. But when you build an application, there is a lot that goes on. Perhaps you need to set up a vector database to build a solution that is retrieval augmented. Perhaps you need to set up an orchestration framework, and that might be needed for any non-trivial application. You need an orchestration framework. Maybe you need to create your own embeddings. Perhaps you need to set up your data pipeline, right? So you need maybe you need to have some sort of evaluation and ML Ops framework. Maybe you need a semantic cache, and I will probably, if you have time, I will go over that. Maybe I will explain it to you. So our hope is anyone who comes in to this training, they will be able to understand this entire architecture, and then they will be able to actually implement an application that resembles this architecture, right? So our hope is that anyone who comes in, maybe they will leave with their own conversational agent deployed in, as a small basic web app. Maybe they have some orchestration framework set up as well, and then all of this ecosystem. Our hope is that by the end of the training, we'll cover all the topics in theory, and depending upon what project you undertake, you are going to actually have this up and running application, and you will be able to actually experience some of those issues that can only be experienced, right? So I mean, there are many issues that you only discover and only are able to appreciate when you actually work as a practitioner. So let's go over the curriculum, what the curriculum is going to look like. So first of all, the prerequisites. So our hope is that anyone with a working knowledge of Python should be able to actually finish or complete this bootcamp. But really, if you don't have a Python background, but you have some background in general on any other language, you should be fine. The main choice of programming language is going to be Python. And then what we'll do is, if you don't know Python, we have tutorials in our learning platform that I will show you shortly. you should be able to actually ramp up with Python. And the rest of it, I will show you how the code samples and everything is set up. We are going to actually, you're going to get you ready for the bootcamp. In terms of, what else, of course, you have to have some interest in data and analytics. You should, ideally, you should have some use case. You understand why you are here. It should not really, it's not, hey, let me check it out. So that's not the what we are expecting. But you should have some appreciation, understanding. Ideally, if you have some background, and you have been working in data and analytics, I think that would be best. But you do not need to know a lot of machine learning, or you don't need to be, some sort of wizard in data or machine learning or data science in general. This is roughly the technology stack that we will be touching upon. Not all of them will be covered. For instance, in foundation models, likely we'll have, I think I should put Llama 2 here from Facebook as well. So OpenAI, Cohere, Anthropic, will take dependency on that. Vector databases, it's going to be Redis. Orchestration frameworks, will be focusing mainly on LangChain, and then LLM Ops and other things. This is by no means complete. It should give you an idea that what are the things that we are going to be covering in this bootcamp. So with the curriculum, we're going to start with a quick overview of neural networks and deep learning. We'll explain neural networks, how they work, and starting from all the way from perceptron, maybe a very quick hour, 2 hour introduction to machine learning for anyone who does not know machine learning at all. Very quick overview of vectorization of your images or text, or your some data is already structured. We'll get into the fundamentals of generative AI, LLMs, and foundation models. Of course, transformers and attention mechanism, encoder-decoder architecture, and diffusion-based models. We'll talk about that, and we'll have associated exercises with that. Then, to be able to appreciate the whole encoder-decoder architectures, one should be actually able to appreciate embeddings. And the historical evolution of embeddings, how embeddings started with one-hot encoding and count-based and TF-IDF techniques, all the way to the way we see them in transformers. Then vector databases is a very important topic. So why vector databases are important? How are they different from relational databases, for instance, right? So, or NoSQL databases. And different type of indexing techniques. We'll talk about PQ, LSH, and HNSW. We will also talk about retrieval techniques. Some of those similarity or distance measures that are used for retrieving vectors. And then for every topic, we are going to have, for instance, for this one, we are going to create a vector database, and then create a vector store, index it either using PQ or LSH or HNSW, and then create some embeddings, store them, and retrieve. Maybe you created embeddings for a bunch of sentences, and now you wrote another sentence, and then you tried to see which sentence is the closest to the sentence that was created. A natural extension of vector databases is semantic search. And semantic search, how is it different from lexical search? Lexical search is based on keywords. Semantic search is based on the meaning or the understanding of words. So we will build a semantic search engine, and we'll look at other things. What are the limitations, and how do you actually improve semantic search? Prompt engineering. So prompt engineering is by far one of the most important aspects of building large LLM applications. Something not very, any intelligent person can figure out prompt engineering, but it is by far one of the most important things. And we will actually spend quite a bit of time on prompt engineering, not just chat GPT prompts, like, some fun prompts that you're creating, all those sliders and, social media carousels that you see. We are actually formally going to understand what prompt engineering is and how do you actually create prompts that actually work. The difference between a good application or good LLM application and a great LLM application is sometimes prompt engineering, right? So prompt tuning actually takes a lot of effort. Then you have orchestration frameworks, right? So what if your data sources are different, right? So connectors for a CRM system, connectors for your data warehouse, connector for a SQL database, connector, or maybe a retriever, or maybe a mechanism to understand, how to process JSON, how to process an HTML, right? So the beauty of modern open source is that all of these things actually come in as a all of these things, they come in as libraries. So we are going to actually understand the rationale for orchestration frameworks, and we are going to dive into one of the popular orchestration frameworks called LangChain, and we are going to actually understand all the issues, right? So how do you handle different kinds of schemas? How do you connect your application to today, maybe it could be OpenAI, tomorrow it could be Bard, and it could also be Anthropic or Llama 2 and any other type of model. So how do you actually do that? Then creating prompt templates, it is important, right? So your prompts can vary based on situation. So how do you templatize your prompts? Then you're talking about chaining of prompts, right? So if it's a conversational agent, you want to you've seen how ChatGPT actually maintains the context of your conversation. So how do you chain things? And so there are so many issues, of course, I cannot explain every single thing here, but this whole orchestration mechanism, that also needs to be understood if you want to build your custom application. Then you have autonomous agents, right? So how do you create autonomous agents that actually, they just keep running and, they do their job? There are different types of agents that are available in open source, of course. We cannot actually cover every single thing out there, but we are going to actually take some of the common ones, or something that actually helps you understand how to use these frameworks to build those agents, and then take it from there. Then LLM Ops, just like ML Ops, there is this area called LLM Ops, something similar. So deploying, monitoring, and evaluation and tuning of LLM applications, version tracking, etc. And then along with that, what is important is the principles of responsible AI, understanding the limitations of generative AI, understanding the limitations of AI in general, and how you can avoid any regulatory issues, any legal challenges, any embarrassment, right? So all of those things are important. As we adopt AI, these areas become more and more important. We are going to have a project, and that I mentioned earlier on. The project, you can choose any of these projects, whatever you prefer. We have some set of data sets. I think one of the data sets that we have finalized is the entire, all the PDFs, all the documents from IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, and then you create a conversational agent asking different questions related to taxes, right? So what is the deadline for taxes for 2023? Or what is, which form do I file for an extension, right? So some of the apps that you see out there, they are, built on some fairly simple ideas like this. Then there is the, YouTube virtual assistant, right? So one of the projects that we have in mind is, you build this conversational agent. you point YouTube videos to this agent, and then now you're interactively asking questions about, hey, what was discussed this, and what was, let's say we use this agent, and after the session, you point that agent to the video that this particular session that we are in right now, and hey, what did Raja say about the project? And then it will actually summarize that for you, right? So it is amazing. I mean, you will actually, once you understand this, you will say, wow, I mean, that's the infrastructure is quite easy. The packages, the libraries, they are actually quite approachable and quite accessible. But of course, I mean, there are challenges that, as I said, I mean, only when you start building these solutions, only then you can actually appreciate and fully understand. And there is, we will also talk about model fine tuning. So sometimes what the approach that we are taking, sometimes we will be mostly focusing on the retrieval augmented approach, because that's the more common approach. Fine tuning is something that we will teach. But this is not an approach that everyone should be undertaking. I mean, it is basically you will have to decide. But nevertheless, we will be actually talking about fine-tuning of models as well. So the architecture that I showed at the very beginning of this talk, that talks about, it is more about the architecture involves more of a retrieval augmented approach, but we will still talk about fine tuning, right? So, and happy to answer any questions related to that. We are actually partnering with some leading names. I'm not at the liberty to actually disclose the names, but we have one of the leading players in vector databases that is going to be our partner, the delivery partner for this delivering this bootcamp. We are finalizing our contractual, relationship with them, and then we are orchestration frameworks. We have a leading player, right? So, and then LLM Ops, we have a leading player. So, if you look at this, so for each of the areas, we have partnered with these companies. And then that's how we will be able to actually give you these free credits and free subscriptions, because the exercises can actually become they can be on the somewhat on the expensive side. But at no cost to you, right? So we will actually make sure that your registration fee is all you need, and everything else that is needed for this for delivering or for being successful in this training, everything else is provided to you. So let me actually come in and show you. Maybe let me give you some idea here. Right? So what does the learning infrastructure actually looks like? So if you look at this, for instance, so this is LangChain, you saw that, right? So let's say we are talking about, chatbots, right? So we are talking about chatbots. So you can see chat related, there are 3 topics. So you search for it. And when you click on this, it actually it opens up the lab. So you do not have to set up your a local Python environment. If you prefer to, that's not a problem at all. But if you do not want to actually spend time on building or setting up your machine and installing relevant packages, so what all you will need is your OpenAI key, whatever foundation model you're using, and after that we have these labs set up for you. All you have to do is run this Jupyter notebook. Of course, it will not run right now because I've not embedded my OpenAI key. But if you look at this, so this is how you really, and it is complaining about OpenAI key, right? So we have tons of these exercises that we will be doing in class. So similarly, if you're talking about schemas, right? So now, what are the basic types of schemas, right? So, and then same thing. If you and I can keep going, but I hope you get the idea, right? So you can see it is able to actually walk you through different kinds of schemas. Similarly, let me actually go here. If I go to my learning here, I will show you, perhaps I should show you something from our existing, so typically this whole experience, it is actually going to be set up like this, right? So, you have these individual modules. For instance, when you're coming in with your Python programming bootcamp preparatory work is going to be something like this, where you have a video, you watch the video, you finish the exercises. When you click on this, I'm sorry, not here. Just myself, just a moment. Okay, and then you go and you basically you are going to be able to click on these labs that are already set up for you. So pretty much, we have been doing this for a long time now, right? So what we have understood, what we have figured out is a lot of time is spent by learners in not actually understanding the theoretical underpinnings or really the concept that they are here to learn. They spend more time in setup related things and logistics, right? So, and when you sign up, all of this infrastructure, right? So you can see this says user Raja notebooks, right? So all of you get a space in our compute environment, and this environment is for you, and you can pretty much, for any purpose that you want to use, this compute environment is for you. And we have tons of more related what we call the sandboxes. We have tons of sandboxes that actually for vector databases, we have sandboxes for creating embeddings and all the topics that we mentioned. All the exercises are going to be actually organized in this manner, and we'll focus more on learning as opposed to focusing on, hey, I cannot install this package on my Mac, and so on, right? So that's the whole idea. Let me go back to the slide deck here. Okay. I think what I will do is maybe there is a quick announcement. I'm going to be actually doing a webinar. It is an upcoming webinar. I think the link should be posted in chat. So we'll be doing a webinar on August 22nd at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And I will be talking about some of the things that, of course, will be eventually talked about in the LLM Bootcamp. I actually did a webinar, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, I'm forgetting. But that webinar actually was attended by 700 plus people. So, something similar. So I think that you should have the link. Our first bootcamp, the first ever LLM Bootcamp, is happening in Seattle on Nathan, September 18th?
September 18th.
September 18th to 22nd, or yeah. So that's our first bootcamp that is happening like shortly, almost a month from now. And then we have others coming up. By the way, this is all in person. We are not doing a virtual offering at the moment. I cannot say, maybe 6 months, a month from now, but at the moment we are going back to our in-person trainings. So this is in a typical boot camp, you have 20, 25, 30 people, and sometimes even more than 30 people. I mean, we have seen bigger cohorts as well. So it's a very different experience. Only those who have actually attended the boot camp, they can actually tell that it's you can think of this as it's not just a training, it's an environment, right? So people are really, really focused, right? So when you're spending an entire day from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Like solely focused on one thing, it is very different from, hey, I will do it 30 minutes or 1 hour a week, and I will finish it over 6 months or 1 year, right? So it's a very different experience, and I have seen people actually, being obsessed about, getting their models right and all of that, right? So Nathan, over to you. Are there any questions, or did I miss anything?
We do have some questions, and one of them is relevant to the Seattle boot camp, so I want to conquer that one first. Erica, nice to see you again. But Erica's wondering, what is the location of the Seattle boot camp? And when she took I think she took the data science boot camp before, we were in Bellevue. So Erica, it'll be Bellevue. It'll be a different venue from the one that you attended, but it's gonna be Bellevue, not Seattle proper.
Yeah. So we usually refer to the metro area. So that's how it works. Yeah. So it is going to be in Bellevue.
And then Bernard, hi Bernard. Will the bootcamp provide solutions to these enterprise LLM challenges that you're going to be going over in your talk?
Yes. So I will be going over some of the challenges at a very high level in the webinar that I do, the live tutorial that I do. But eventually, when we go to when we do it at the bootcamp, you will actually experience those challenges. Let me put it this way. Right? So it's not going to be Raja telling you. You will actually see that, hey, I'm hitting this context limit. What should I do? I mean, should I use a 4K GPT or a 16K or maybe a 100K token limit? And then when you go to a bigger token limit, you say, okay, yeah, now my costs are going up, right? So you're going to experience those challenges as opposed to, and sometimes, I mean, if you move to a different model, you will start seeing, hey, my latency is now, my responses are slow. So it's actually all of those things. I keep saying this, they can only be experienced. I mean, so I was aware of many things in theory. And then when I started building those things, I think my perception is, or my experience is very different from how I perceived things to be. I think, let me actually start with, there is a lot of question. So there is question by Ed. Is it possible to attend the bootcamp remotely? At this point, no, it is not, Ed. If you can reach out, I would love to understand, because we are actually from Seattle. We have the next one is in DC, I guess, Nathan.
Yeah, Seattle, Washington, DC, Austin, Texas, New York City, and then our first international one will be Singapore.
Yeah, the first international one would be in Singapore, right? So the cost of the bootcamp, as we speak, it is $3,500. It includes everything. Sometimes say $3,500. It's expensive, but we actually host you. Your breakfast, lunch, all day. Snacks, coffee, refreshments, your course material, your subscriptions, all of that is covered, right? So, and then if you are an alumni from the bootcamp, then we have special discounts for, actually, if you have attended our data science bootcamp, then there is a discount. So please reach out, and then we'll let you know.
Yeah, if you're an alumnus, click request an invoice, and we'll share the discount with you.
How can I enroll in this bootcamp? It's just what I need. Okay, so someone, York or Jorge, I don't know how to pronounce your name, right? So I will assume it is York. Yeah, so York, if you can, someone should reach out to you, right? So we will be sending you the instructions. If you go to the website, I mean, there's a registration link. And if you are an alumnus, please don't sign on the website, because we have special discount, right? So request an invoice, and we'll let you know. Okay, again, the remote question, it's a good, interesting viewpoint, so people prefer that. What we would like to do is definitely in person. It's a very different, very personalized learning experience. I know it is. It can be an overhead travel, all the other costs, but it is absolutely worth it. And not available in London at the moment. We certainly can plan. How is it different from deep learning free source courses, right? So, and this is the question, Abhishek. This is a question that I get a lot. And you can see, I think some of the names I recognize. Some people, they paid a similar amount for our data science bootcamp when Coursera and other Udemy, with all respect to all of those players, they were there for free, but people would travel from as far as Australia to the US to attend this bootcamp. So I think it is more experiential. It is, 1 week and you're done. And it is more about no distractions, a very carefully curated course by people who are actually building these things, right? So many of the courses out there, they are built by, many of the courses, not all of them, but people who have never implemented those things. I mean, it is all theory, but when we actually do it, it is actually designed by practitioners, taught by practitioners to turn you into a practitioner. Okay, let me see. Where was I here? Okay, lots of questions. Okay. Can we use your own data sets? This is a question by Al-Hanouf. Al-Hanouf, yes, you can use your own data set, but please get it pre-approved because it's a time-bound. It's a time-bound, 8-hour project. And if we become too ambitious, sometimes, I mean, not finishing the course within the 8 hours, it can finishing the project within that 8-hour window, it can actually be a problem. So just get it pre-approved and happy to do it. Mohit, your question is, can you give study material Jupyter Notebook? Yes, I mean, once you attend, it is yours. Not, of course, yours to go and disseminate and distribute, but Jupyter Notebooks and all of those, yes. I mean, once you, all of that curriculum, all the material is going to be shared with you, but only with you, not with the out there for public. How LLM can automate impact on traditional data science projects? Can I fully automate whole life cycle of data science project? Satyam, I am not sure how to answer your question because, my answer is no. No, you cannot. You cannot automate everything. And I've been doing this for almost half of my life. When I say this, I'm referring to data science, machine learning. My PhD work was in this space. So I've been doing this for quite some time. I think for most practical real world applications, you have to have some sort of human in the loop. And I should not say not all of them would require a human in the loop, but in most practical, so it is going to be on a case-by-case basis, right? So if you have a healthcare application or healthcare decision-making, of course, you cannot automate the entire life cycle. So I would say, or, Tesla, right? So, or I was looking at this car, Cruise. I mean, it got stuck in, wet concrete 2 days ago. The picture was circling in social media, right? So I think automating things completely, that's definitely a dream that all of us would like to see come true. But the reality is that it will be on a case-by-case basis. So I cannot say that that will be the case. Okay, having missed the live beginning, what are the timelines? When to start and when to end, please? So this question is from Yasin. I'm assuming that is how you pronounce your name. So Yasin, this is a 5-day bootcamp. The bootcamp is going to be happening. I think I should have included that slide for the locations.
Raja, if you go through the end of the thank you, I actually included it.
Okay, thank you then. Okay, right here. So all of these bootcamps are actually 5-day bootcamps. The first one is happening in Seattle from September 18th to 22nd. Then Washington, D.C. is October 16th to 20th. And then Austin, then New York, and then Singapore is coming up. And more locations, of course, based on we are just launching. As far as I know, there is no other bootcamp in industry that is this extensive and this comprehensive because it's something that there are not many practitioners in this space who understand the end-to-end picture. So of course, I foresee that things will start popping up, but there's no in-person or comprehensive training. I mean, you can find a separate training on prompt engineering. Well, I learned prompt engineering, now what, right? So separate training on orchestration framework. So, okay, now I understand, now what, right? So, and we are talking about the entire end-to-end picture of building an application. So let me go back here. There are more questions, I guess. Let me see which I answered Yasin's question just now. Let me actually, I lost the question.
And I think the next question was pretty similar to Yasin's about the duration of the boot camp. But I think if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see one from Bernard again.
Okay, can you mention to me, because I was looking at the chat window, not the okay. So then duration of the bootcamp, like 5 days, 40 hours. And then, so I think a funny anecdote, right? So we have had like 5 or 6 trainings in Barcelona, not this training, but the data science bootcamp. And people actually would tell me that they thought that they will have time to actually hang out and have fun in Barcelona. But what ended up happening was that the format of the bootcamp was such that they would attend the training, and then after that, I mean, you've gotten them so hooked that even after 5 p.m. and after 6 p.m., I mean, most people, they would still be actually worrying about, hey, my model is not, I cannot get this right. So people are pretty much, it's, as someone pointed out, right? So it was really tiring, but in a good way, right? So you can expect a 5 days of very intense experience, right? And go check out our website, right? So hundreds of people, real people know John and Jane Doe's actually talking about us, real people, real LinkedIn profiles. So we are absolutely loyal following, because the way we structure things, it actually works, right? So, but the answer is duration of the bootcamp 5 days, and okay, what is the difference between LLM, AI, and data science, right? So you may want to watch. You may want to watch. One of my earlier talks from a week ago, and can someone post that talk if not already? Yeah, so it's going to be actually I think very quickly, data science is, well, the end-to-end. I mean, it involves a lot of other things, but when you're building an LLM bootcamp, I mean, there can be an intersection, but LLMs refer to think of this large language models, right? So when you're talking about large language models, you're basically having this human-like capability of understanding language, right? So not all data science projects will involve AI, and not all AI projects will involve large language models, right? So not all of them involve language understanding, but this bootcamp is going to focus on building things for instance, right? So based on what I'm saying right now, can someone summarize what was said in this session? Based on what I'm talking about, can someone create frequently asked questions about the training, right? So and we will probably do that, right? So this is our first customer-facing interaction. So what we will, our customer-facing presentation for this particular bootcamp, right? So we will go back and, we can run this whole video and create, these were the questions that were asked. So I hope that helps. I mean, the limited amount of time that we have, I am going to, this is the best I can do. But if you want to get on a call, I'm happy to actually walk you through and explain things to you. Then Bernard, your question is, foundation models versus open source. Will this bootcamp enable us to compare which approach works best for? Yeah, I mean, Bernard, it's because I have some context. In your case, probably open source, self-deployed open source models will be the way to go. I think you may not actually, cloud-based solutions may not be the case. And yes, after that, you will be able to understand which ones to use and how to deploy your own deploy your own individual models. So yes, I mean, or the models or the foundation models that actually work best for your case. Yes, that is what we are going to be talking about. Bernard, I know you are attending the DC bootcamp already, so I'm looking forward to seeing you. Okay. Okay, requesting you to have the bootcamp in Mumbai, Bangalore, and India. We would love to have that, right? So the plan is, so any locations that you see, except for Riyadh, right? So all other locations, we have had bootcamps there in the past. And we will go around and start start offering and fill in the need. We already have close to 8,000 people who have attended, maybe 7,000 plus people who have attended our data science bootcamp. And so we already have people who are actually waiting for our bootcamp to happen in those locations. But once we actually have gone through the cycle, maybe sometimes mid to late next year, we will consider adding new locations. Okay, Toronto schedule concrete yet, Sarania. So we will try our best. Toronto, the British Columbia government, I mean, their regulators sometimes can be a pain in the neck, being very honest here, right? So they gave us a tough time. So we will actually, there's some we have done, I believe, 3 boot camps in Toronto, but we are going to actually add it once the regulators who wanted to,
Yeah, so Saranya, my
regulate us.
suggestion is if you're dying to learn these things, I would attend New York. I think that'll be the closest location to you. I'm assuming you're somewhere in the greater Toronto area. But Raj is right. There's some hoops we have to jump through.
Yeah. And then Ibra, a bootcamp in Nigeria, we have had, actually, I'm still in touch with the people from Nigeria. So, I mean, I've met like good 10, 15 people who came from Nigeria mainly to New York or DC or Chicago. And
Seattle. I know they came to Seattle. Yep.
Yeah, and we had someone coming to Seattle as well, right? So yeah, I mean, no bootcamp in Nigeria, but you never know. Would love to. Okay. Any other questions here? Okay, so John, thank you for the comment, right? I've been to a previous bootcamp. You do nothing but learn and sleep, right? So I love that. I mean, yes, that is the case. And in some case, in one of the bootcamps, so we used to have this, the Kaggle competition, right? So data science competition. And then I know, I mean, the person is still my friend. I mean, I can call him a friend now, right? So the person did not sleep on Thursday because his model was not working. And then he came to, and he was just dozing off on Friday. But I love the passion that the person did not sleep at night because the model is not working. How can I go to sleep? So in some cases, John, some people didn't even sleep, right? So in some extreme cases, right? So, but yeah, expect to be actually tested. But it should not scare people away, because many people who came in, they had no background. I mean, we have had medical doctors, the other bootcamp, right? So data science bootcamp, and medical doctors attend the training. We have had lawyers attend the training. We had geologists and economists attend the training. So it's a very diverse background. And the way we structure this is, the way we structure the learning is, we focus on the most important things. And we have options for people with varying abilities, right? So varying backgrounds. So as I said, I invite you to actually go and check out our website, our reviews, and yeah, as I said, I mean, they are real people, and just check it out, right? So I'm pretty confident. I mean, I've personally trained like 7,000 or 8,000 people out of the 11,000 that we have taught, right? So, and so I can confidently say that, I mean, we will do, we know how to actually deliver or impart these skills. Okay. Any other questions that I may have missed? Nathan, any questions?
I think there's one about certificates, and I know there'll be a certificate of completion, Francisco.
Yes. And yes, so our data science bootcamp actually, and all our other programs, they actually get a certificate from the University of New Mexico, because this is a brand new program. Of course, before the training, I mean, we have to just finish some formalities. So yes, there will be a certificate and from an accredited university in collaboration with them. But I mean, pending some final, final details, final confirmation.
All right, and I think that's all the questions. So, and that took us right up to the end of the session. So Raja, unless there's anything else that you want to add, I think I can wrap us up here.
So yeah, I mean, so if you are interested, if you have any questions about the bootcamp, you have a link to our website. Go and fill out a form, talk to an instructor. I'm more than happy to actually walk you through the curriculum. And if you have any unique scenarios, hey, I don't know coding and I only know this programming language, and these are some of the common things. Hey, would I be okay if I'm a medical doctor, or if I've never done any machine learning? So there are so many questions. I'm more than happy to actually advise or help you understand what kind of benefit you can get out of this training. So I think that should be it.
And my suggestion, if you're really trying to get a hold of us, use that talk to an advisor button on our website. I would say that's probably the best way to get a hold of us, especially one-on-one.